I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 204. If you don't already know, I'm Kev Chardello, coming to you on Friday, September 5th, and Bobcats vs. Birds is back. Big one at 2:30 p.m. in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. The Texas State University Bobcats take on the UT San Antonio Roadrunners. Gonna honor the name change, the brand change. We're trying to bring San Antonio into the mix. It is the 7th edition of this I-35 rivalry, and it feels like these two programs are as close as they've ever been on the field. As far as ability, as far as where their standing is. I mean, shoot, even the coaches, G.J. Kinney, Jeff Traylor, it's 1-1 now. This is the rubber match, the third one. Who knows if either one's going to be there next year. So this one, there's just so much going into this one. I'm already even starting to step on what I'm going to talk about. I'm too excited. I haven't even gotten to the ad read yet. We'll make this a pretty quick episode because we know this opponent. We know the stakes. We know what's at hand on Saturday. We just got to get there at this point. But we're going to talk a little bit about it beforehand, talk some Bobcats, talk some Birds, give a prediction, and then send you on your way, let you twiddle your thumbs until kickoff tomorrow. But before we get there, this episode is brought to you by the Galindo Collective, TGC LLC, the GalindoCollective.com. That's TGC LLC, the GalindoCollective.com, GALINDO, GalindoCollective.com, a team of professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their services cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. If you own property or a business and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com and follow their social media platforms on Twitter at TGC_LLC and on Instagram and Facebook at the Galindo Collective. Shout out to my guy, Rick Galindo, a Tech State grad, a true Tech State sicko. No TGC ticket giveaway this week since the Bobcats are on the road, but they will be back for Nichols on September 20th, and we'll have you covered then with our TGC ticket giveaway. But until then, hit up the Galindo Collective at thegalindocollective.com. That's GALINDO, GalindoCollective.com. Quick one for our guys at bhihats.com. Been having it hats. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can see me in the white Cats by 90 rope hat. Been wearing it the last few episodes. This one is sold out, but they've got two new maroon looks. A maroon Cats by 90 rope hat, just like the one I've got here, and a state rope hat as well. Go check them out. You punch in code WNOGB at checkout, you get 10% off. So bhihats.com, 10% off with WNOGB promo code. Check them out. They still got lots going, about 25 hats left. So get in there before they sell out. bhihats.com. All right, let's get to these Bobcats. Texas State versus UTSA, the battle for regional relevancy in the I-35 rivalry. It's we all know the importance of this game. It's nice to see that people around are starting to accept how this rivalry as a serious one. I think that UTSA getting off to an 0-5 lead in this series kind of made people, it didn't hit their radar. Now it's all over everyone's radar. You have not just people in the state talking about it, you have people nationally talking about it. Is this one of the best G5 rivalries out there? I feel like it is the best G5 rivalry out there, especially when you look at the state of Texas, how many FBS programs are in the state. It's a very competitive state, and to have two G5 programs with such close proximity, San Antonio to San Marcos is about 30 to 40 minutes. There, the I-35 rivalry, because literally you take I-35 and you can touch either school. So it's so unique, in my opinion, in the landscape of college football, especially with realignment and everything, to have this regionality, even though it's not a conference opponent or anything like that, but somebody just right there that's so close. It's very, very rare in the landscape of college football, and it's underrated because it's not a P4. It's not a P4 matchup, so not a ton of people know it, but I would say that makes it more authentic. Really, if you're a fan going to either one of these teams, either one, if you're a UTSA fan or a Texas State fan, you're not a T-shirt fan. You didn't just, your affiliation with the school isn't that you bought a shirt at Walmart. You were actually involved in the community. You more than likely went to the school and graduated from the school. When you look across at the Alamo Dome and you see a ton of fans, probably about 50,000 strong out there, you know that those are people that are intimately involved in this program and they care and they are invested. It's not just a logo to them. It's a community. There's so much more that goes into it. That it means so much more. And I'm glad to see other people starting to catch up and be like, is this one of the best rivalries in G5? I think it's one of the best rivalries in college football altogether. I mean, there is no love lost between these fans. This is a rivalry that goes beyond football. I mean, it started when UTSA incepted football, but it's been going on in other sports for decades, long time. So it's great. Talking about how close the people are, proximity and everything. I mean, even my own brother is a UTSA grad. It's inner family like that. So I mean, that's just how it goes. It's one of the great aspects of college football is a game like this and this rivalry, this specifically. But let's talk about the game. It's enough about the atmosphere, the lead up to it. UTSA leads the overall series 5-1, going back to 2012. Scoring head to head, 188 to 176. So that's kind of interesting. The UTSA, they have 4 more wins, but they only have 12 more points. So a couple touchdowns in a victory by the Bobcats, and they can actually get ahead in the head-to-head scoring against UTSA. I feel like I brought that up last episode, and I thought it was closer to 20. It's actually smaller than I thought, just 12 points. Last year, it felt like this game was so much more important for Texas State than it was UTSA. Obviously, it mattered to both. It mattered. I'm not saying it didn't matter to UTSA at all, but being down 0-5, even having, if you going back to 2023, the Bobcats, they have their new shiny head coach with G.J. Kinney. They're fresh off a Baylor win. Things are great, and they go to the Alamo Dome and they fall 20-13. Game that they should have won. The Cole Wilson drop. Man, going back and revisiting some old UTSA games and seeing that Cole Wilson drop in 23 is brutal. That's a heartbreaking one. So many of these were close. 2020 with the missed extra point. Gosh, I probably don't need to go through every single game, but they were so close in 2023, and that would that not have been perfect in the G.J. Kinney year? He beats his mentor. They beat Baylor. Things are just going well the rest of the year that season, but they didn't get that UTSA win. So it was really hanging over this program and this coach, G.J. Kinney. He came in. He hadn't lost to UTSA in 2023. Now he had that loss in 24, something that a little extra motivation for him to get over that hump. It's not just the school's problem. It was GJ's problem as well. So there was a lot of pressure on Texas State, and man, did they answer the call with a 49-10 win, an absolute blowout, the biggest blowout in this series. So they answered their part of it. And now you look at it, and not all the pressure is on UTSA. There is absolutely pressure on Texas State. It just feels like equal pressure this year for the first time in the series, maybe even going back to 2012. Ever since UTSA beat Texas State, the eyes have been on the Bobcats to get back and get a win. And now that they have, the pressure is finally back on the Roadrunners a little bit. They're both feeling pressure now. Obviously, UTSA always wanted to win this one, but there wasn't a ton of pressure on them to win it. And now I feel like there is. You can feel it from even watching Jeff Traylor at his press conference. You can feel it talking with fans that this one, they're not infallible anymore. They used to say death taxes and UTSA beats the Bobcats. That's what they used to say. They don't say that anymore. I haven't seen that one all year. I saw it for years and years. I haven't seen it in a year now, ever since that win for the Bobcats. But yes, I feel like this is one. The first time in a long time where it's equally important for both programs. This is regional relevancy with realignment going all around. Who knows what college football is going to look like in a couple years? You got to be the one to stand out in your area. Both these programs recognize that. And I'm telling you, UTSA, I'm sure they want to pop the Bobcats balloon, this Pac-12 balloon that they blew up over summer. They want to come over with a pin and go pop and watch the air seep out of it. So there's so much motivation into all of this. Although I'll save it for the end, what I'm going to say on that next part. But yeah, let's go. Let's talk about the game. Betting lines at the beginning of the week. It started at the UTSA was favored by 5, and then it dropped to 4.5, and now it's 3.5. It's interesting to see it drop throughout the week. I always feel like Vegas knows something that we don't. The guys who make those books, they're in on something that we aren't. Who knows what's going on there? I know injuries for Texas State. We have Joe Landry. He's going to be out. Tresmore is also going to be out. Tresmore didn't play last game. Joe Landry left, had his pads off by halftime in that last game. So I don't know when he'll be back. It feels like it might be a little while for Joe Landry. UTSA, they'll be without Cam Cooper, season-ending knee surgery for the linebacker for the Roadrunners. Something that was interesting for me was no sacks for either defense. These are two coaches that really pride themselves on their defenses getting pressure. You know, I know Texas State hasn't been known to have a shutout defense, but they do get pressure. They do get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They're in the backfield constantly. Same with Jeff Traylor. He's always had stout defenses, and neither one had a sack last week. I'm more concerned about the Bobcats not having a sack against Eastern Michigan than I am with UTSA not having one against Texas A&M. But either one isn't good. It's a flip for these guys' defenses a little bit. And, you know, it's only one game. Who knows what we're going to see on Saturday. Could see some of these guys really, really come about. But it feels, for the first time in the GJ versus Jeff Traylor era, it's offense versus offense, you know. It felt like it might have been that way in 2023, and then it got to a bit of a stalemate, 20-13, that both the defenses stood up in that one more than anybody anticipated. So that could very likely happen again. It's so early in the season. These two teams, they always meet so early in the season that you never have a full feel of either side going into this game. But no Landry. That means we're going to see a lot of Kennard Snyder, a lot of Tymir Jackson. Saw a lot of both of those guys. Kennard Snyder, he just transferred in this past season. He came off the bench. He was behind Landry, but he got in there and played quite a bit against Eastern Michigan when he went down. And Tymir Jackson, he was out there 6'5", 240, just shoving guys around, being real mean. They're going to have to get back there. I really thought going into it, the edge was going to be one of the strengths of this team. And it wasn't on Saturday. I still feel like it could be, but it definitely was not on Saturday. So there is some work to do defensively. I think we're going to see a lot of different guys out there on defense. And I have a lot to talk about that with defense and players to watch. Got some good stuff coming up. But before we get there, this episode is brought to you by Turnkey Tailgate Party Providers. Bobcat owned and operated by two brothers, Steve and Trey Garza, Turnkey Tailgate is the premier party provider for the I-35 corridor, servicing Austin to San Antonio and everything in between. Rent tailgate party trailers, tents, chairs, and other outdoor equipment. They'll even set it up and take it down. 8x16 trailer with electric brakes, RV bathroom with RV with air conditioning and hot and cold water, roof mounts, TVs, coolers, chairs, tents, whatever you need, they've got it. So check them out at turnkeytailgate.com. That's turnkey-tailgate.com. Turnkey-tailgate.com. And call them up at 833-858-4283 or 833-TKT-GATE. That's 833-TKT-GATE. Or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Turnkey Tailgate. All right, shout out to my guys Steve and Trey. Had to get that one in there. The home game coming up for the Bobcats against Nichols. You're gonna need some tailgate equipment. Hit my guys up. All right, let's do some players to watch for both sides. Like I said, this is going to be kind of a shorter episode for y'all. I'm trying to get you out of here within 30 minutes. especially because at this point the game's within just about 24 hours away. 5 players to watch. We'll start with UTSA. Robert Henry Jr., as we all know. If you watched Wizard Wednesday, my guy Zach, Wizard Wednesday, he talked all about Robert Henry, 177 yards against A&M. This was, I can remember, Kavorian Barnes left. Where did he go? The running back for UTSA. He left, and I gave a little fist pump, like, yeah, all right. Bobcats won't have to face that big barrel of a running back anymore. But then they go out and get themselves a one-cut maven who's just out there tuning up the Aggies, looking great. Talking to G.J. Kinney about the guy earlier this week, and he said he changed his body type in the offseason, and that has been the difference. You can tell. I don't know what he did. It worked. I need to get that workout regimen. I need to change my body type so I'm moving like Robert Henry out there. But he's a pretty good player. Go check out Wizard Wednesday to hear all about Robert Henry and what he brings to the table and what the Bobcats have. That's another great quick listen for y'all. Owen McCowan, we remember Owen McCowan. He started against the Bobcats last year. Was a young man, second start for him in that game. Did not go well. Lots of pressure from the Bobcats. They were in the backfield. They were whooping up on him, and he didn't even play the second half. It was a rowdy crowd in the backfield and in the stands at that game for Owen McCown. It was a tough second start for him, but he's gotten a lot of experience in the time since. 3,400 yards passing, 25 touchdown passes to 10 interceptions last year, 6.6 yards per carry. He can move a little bit. He's not the best mover, but he can get a little loose if he needs to. He's not a Brad Jackson, but he can move around. I think that if Bobcats are remembering last season and they're thinking that's what they're going to expect at Owen McCowan, I think you are mistaken. He has matured. He's a little bit better. He's not. I wouldn't say he's great, but he is a serviceable quarterback, no doubt about it. He can beat you if you let him, but the way you don't let him is you get in the backfield. They learned that last year. You get back there, you get pressure, something we didn't see from the Bobcats against Eastern Michigan. They will need desperately against Owen McCowan. Hopefully no Bobcats sent him the playbook, and so he doesn't have a frame of reference. If you don't get that joke, then you got to watch more Wizard Wednesday, because he may or may not have cheated. Next one I have is Houston Thomas. This isn't a guy who has a ton of stats, but he's definitely someone who sticks out to me for UTSA, specifically given how much Jeff Traylor loves to use a tight end. So look out for their tight end, 6'5", 245 pounds. He was averaging 13.8 yards per catch last season. That's really high for a tight end. 470 yards and 3 touchdowns for Houston Thomas. Just somebody to definitely keep an eye on. I know they have like Devin McCune. There's another good receiver for UTSA that I'm not thinking of right now. But really, I think that their biggest pass threat is Houston Thomas, the one that I am the most nervous about for the Bobcats as far as who's going to take him on. Are you going to put a safety on him? Are you going to put one of these linebackers on him? It'll be maybe the nickel. It'll be a tough task for whoever is dealing with him. Shad Banks Jr. on defense, TCU transfer, really good player as well for UTSA. Don't know why I didn't put any of his stats from TCU. I should have, but that's a player that I noted for UTSA. It's the only defensive player that I even noted. I don't even think I have defensive players for Texas State. I think this one's going to be all offense all day. Like I was saying at the top, neither defense really showed a ton. I mean, it was obviously the Bobcats get a win. You love that, and UTSA didn't get completely blown out by A&M, and I'm sure they're appreciative of that. But neither one of the defenses, when you go back and watch those games, neither one really opened my eyes and made me nervous for either side. But I'll tell you what did for both teams, specifically UTSA's. Well, it's specifically both, but UTSA's offensive line looked great. I just put the whole offensive line and players to watch, because just watch all 5 of those guys on there. They can move some bodies. They are a lot of talk about Texas State O-line being the heaviest in the country and all of that good stuff. UTSA has a formidable offensive line themselves. They have retooled it and reshaped it, and they've got some good blocking. I mean, Robert Henry, he doesn't get 177 yards against the Aggies by himself. So they were open in lanes and moving bodies all around for him. So that offensive line for UTSA, very potent. 5 players to watch for Texas State. You're all going to know these players. Bo Sparks, of course, 4 touchdowns last week. Kid is a speedster. We saw him with 2 punt returns last season, 2 80-yard punt returns. I feel like I bring that up a lot with him. It was just so impressive. I've never seen it in a game, 2 80-yard punt returns. And one of them didn't go for a touchdown. They weren't 2 touchdown returns. But Bo Sparks seems like he's really trying to solidify that wide receiver 1 spot, but I still feel like that is an open competition. That's why player to watch number 2 on my list. I have Chris Dawn. Only 5 catches for 50 yards last week. G.J. Kinney said that last touchdown he got to Bo Sparks, he was trying to draw it up for Chris Dawn. Didn't really work out. Bo Sparks was just too open all day. But you could see Chris Dawn. You could see some of his routes, and he was getting open, especially if you go back and watch the tape. He's still a terrific receiver, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of attention on Bo Sparks. Once again, honestly, one of the best Wizard Wednesday episodes my guy Zach Webb has put out, came out this last Wednesday. It was a fantastic episode, and he talked a lot about how UTSA, they're going to disguise these packages, and they're going to try and cut off these quick slants and these underneath passes that we saw from the Bobcats. A little bit, somewhat of a new wrinkle for the Bobcats last Saturday compared to years past. But they said there's ways that they're going to try to counteract that. And I say the Bobcats' counteraction to the counteraction is Chris Dawn. Chris Dawn, get him in the mix. He's a great receiver. We saw him tune up UTSA last year. Go cut that tape. That's some good tape. My next one on the list of Bobcats players to watch, Lincoln Perry. Of course, Lincoln Perry. I probably could have put a note for running backs in general. Good shout out to Greg Burrell. Jalen Jenkins having great games. I've seen Torrance Burgess do it last year. We saw him get in the game a little bit, but we didn't see him get a ton. But Torrance Burgess can run as well. They've got some good running backs, but that running back room, it starts with Lincoln Perry. He had a terrific game, 167 yards, 66 yards, something like that last week against Eastern Michigan. Is a 5th-year senior, 4th year with the Bobcats, team captain. He's ready for this moment. He knows how important this game is. His 3rd edition of this rivalry as well, even going back with G.J. Kinney, because I'm trying to think. They didn't play in 2022. So, yeah, this is his 3rd straight one for Lincoln Perry. I know this one matters to him. This guy cares about Texas State, cares about this community, cares about San Marcos a whole heck of a lot. So I know this one matters a lot to Lincoln Perry. So give that man the rock. Brad Jackson, of course. Gotta watch him. Player to watch for the Bobcats. I have Brad Jackson. Usually you'd have quarterbacks maybe a little higher. Same with Owen McCowan. But that's the interesting thing, is that this is going to be an offensive battle, and it's not going to be really a quarterback battle. It's not McCowan versus Jackson. I think this is 2 coaches, specifically G.J. Kinney and Jeff Traylor, who Jeff Traylor's 6 years at UTSA now. G.J. Kinney is 3rd year at Texas State. These guys have been at these programs for an extended period of time now. They have instilled their culture. They have instilled their scheme, their offensive scheme specifically, even though it seems like Texas State, with the offensive coordinator change from Mac Leftwich to Landon Keppel, that offense looked pretty different last week. And I'm wondering, okay, were they holding back? Similar to what they did last year with against Lamar. They don't want to show UTSA everything, so they're holding back a little bit. And the more I watch that, the more I'm like, even if they were holding back, they put up 52, and it looked really good. I mean, there weren't any of the big bomb passes or anything like that. But, man, was that efficient for 4 quarters. That was a very efficient offense. So it will be interesting to see if this offense stays that way, if it has Texas State's offense, if it is morphing towards almost this, I don't even know what you call it, like a run-heavy West Coast offense. The West Coast offense, they don't run a whole lot. It's usually more passing than running, and this offense seems to run more, but the passing is very similar to that West Coast, the underneath, the slants, the short passes, the efficiency to just get down the field, pick up first downs, and eventually you'll find that end zone. It's almost, we've heard G.J. Kinney talk about Gus Malzahn before, and how Gus Malzahn loves to use a plethora of running backs, 5 to 7 running backs. Like, remember when G.J. Kinney first got here, he said that. He's never used 5 to 7. He usually stops around 4. Maybe if he gets to 5, it's a blowout. But it does feel a little bit more like that. Gus Malzahn at Florida State now, I believe, as the OC. So that's it's going to be interesting to see. But I say that point to a long-winded point because this is an offensive battle. It's not quarterback versus quarterback. Really, it's system versus system. It's big-bodied O-line versus big-bodied O-line. It's a team of running backs versus one really good one in Robert Henry. I'm sure they have others on the bench as well. That's just who we saw against the Aggies. It's very rare in that aspect, in that it's a offensive battle, but the quarterbacks are almost a second thought when it comes to talking about the power of these offenses. And then I also put the offensive line as a player to watch for Texas State. The largest offensive line in the nation. Although my guy Colton McWilliams, shout out to Colton over at the San Marcos Daily Record, he said he did some math and he doesn't know if it's quite up to 340. See, it's that article by Crescent City News listed it at like 341.4 for the Bobcats' average weight. And my guy Colton's calculations were a little more in the 330s, so it might be debatable. We'll see. We'll see about that one. Either way, even if it is in the 330s, even if it still makes it the largest in the nation, and 330s for a place that I am old, but I still remember a time where they struggled to get offensive linemen over 300 pounds. If a 300-pounder walked onto campus, that guy was a starter. And so the fact that the average weight is that high is so great for this place. Yes, Texas State's offensive line, Brock Riker at center. That's the one guy that he obviously is a young guy. He's a freshman, needs more experience. Some of those snaps weren't as crisp as they could be, but I still really like the way he looked. Really like the way this offensive line as a whole looked. Sully Barnes at right tackle. I don't know if I shouted him out last episode. What a mammoth. That guy is just, you're not getting past that edge. So offensive line for Texas State is absolutely some players to watch. Such an important game. You know, I've talked a lot about the relationship between the two coaches and what that means. I mean, it's find that anywhere else in the nation. Where is that? That it's such a Texas football thing to happen, that a player's a former quarterback is now a head coach, and he's coaching against his former head coach. That's just so unique to this state. It's so unique to anything really, and for this game specifically, where it's these two guys that have this relationship that goes back so far, and they've been through a lot together. I don't need to go into all of it now with GJ and what happened with his father and how he was shot, and when he was coaching him in high school, and how important Jeff Traylor was in that moment, and things like that. There's a true emotional relationship between these two men that extends way further than the football field. But man, is it fun to see them square off, and it's fun to see this matchup and to talk about it. I mean, there's nothing like it in the country. It's the best rivalry in the G5 to me. It's my favorite rivalry in Texas. You know, I don't care, Aggies, Longhorns, whatever. You guys can have your fun doing all that. This is the one for me. This is the biggest rivalry. It's the game I care about the most, and cannot wait to see it. But let's do a score prediction. Let's send you off with a score prediction. I gave one earlier. I was joking around at I was Dave Campbell's podcast, and I did what did I say, 52 to 49, because we were talking about the 2020 game. That wasn't right. I just didn't expect the prediction, so I threw one out there. But I did give it some thought. I always hate score predictions because the best part about sports is it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. That's the best part. And trying to predict the unpredictable, it seems like a fool's game. But 41-35 is what I'm thinking in favor of the Bobcats. 41-35. I think the Bobcats get 5 touchdowns and a couple field goals. I know the kicking game is in question for UTSA, although it was windy in their first game. I did hear Jeff Traylor talk about that in his press conference, that it was windy and that played into it. But they still have issues with their kicking game. And 41-35, it's not 100 points, but it's pretty high scoring, especially if you think about that 2023 one where it was 20-13 down at the Alamo Dome. But it's going to be loud. It's going to be a raucous crowd. I won't say a rowdy crowd because it's going to be half Bobcats. By the way, I saw the student section at UFCU Stadium. I hear they're calling themselves the Hellcats. I love that. I absolutely love it. The Hellcats. That's great. Because I'll tell you this, when you're on the sideline, if you're in the stands, I'm sure you hear them, but on the sideline, walking by, trying to get some good pictures or anything, you walk by the opponent's sideline, and you hear them just giving it to players. Eastern Michigan last week, they were, after a touchdown for the Bobcats, they're shouting at the D-line, hey, great job, do that again, stuff like that. 91, way to get in there, encouraging them because they're actually losing. But no, it's great stuff. Shout out to the Hellcats. But it's going to be a crazy crowd. And we saw the crazy crowd for Owen McCown. Didn't go great for him. I think that Brad Jackson, he's a cool customer. I don't see him getting shooken up by that crowd at all. I don't think it's going to affect him. I even asked him about it. He's like, nah, a little, he's a confident guy. I think as long as he believes in himself and this coaching staff, whether they believe in what he can do, but also understand his limits, which felt like happened against Eastern Michigan, whether they understood his limits or if they were limiting tape for UTSA, either way, I think not forcing anything and letting this kid let the game come to him, because I trust his decision-making. I need to see more from the arm. Time will come with that. But just his decision-making, his poise, he's ready for this moment. He said going back to San Antonio isn't very emotional for him, but he did play his senior year in San Antonio. UTSA didn't give him an offer. You have to think that that's sitting on his mind a little bit, at least coming into this one. So, but that's what I have. Two offenses that are going to be pretty tough. They're gonna be real tough out there, specifically on the offensive line. The line of scrimmage, I think, is going to be a tough day for the defenses on both sides. But this is the time where the student finally becomes the master with G.J. Kinney. He's been Jeff Traylor's student for a good chunk of his life, half his life basically, if he got in there his junior year. So this has been a long time coming. He got there a little bit last year with that win. It evened the series, but this is the one for G.J. Kinney where if he takes that win, he surpasses his mentor. And it's got to be a bittersweet feeling if you are able to accomplish something like that. But it's got to be a goal that's on the forefront of his mind. How could you not want that as a man, as a coach, as an individual? No matter how much you love that guy, you still wanna get this win over him. So I know this matters a whole lot to both coaches, but I think it's G.J. Kinney. He's going to be prepared for this one. He's going to get Brad Jackson prepared. He's going to have a big offensive line, and the Bobcats are going to drive back to San Marcos with a win. Manifest it, everybody. Manifest it out there. That's how I'm feeling. I think it's going to be a nice 2-0 run for the Bobcats in this series. We'll see what happens in 2026. But man, I want, I was really trying to keep this under a half hour. I'm really bad at that, you guys. But I'll leave it here. And I want to say this about UTSA. Yes, it's hate week. Yes, UTSA is Texas State's arch rival. And there is no love lost between these fan bases, between anybody in San Antonio and San Marcos. But I still want UTSA to follow Texas State to the Pac-12. I know a lot of you don't like that. A lot of you don't want to hear it. But that's what I want. And they like to joke around. They'll joke around. I saw my guy Mike Craven. I jumped on his pod this week. Shout out to Mike Craven. He put out a tweet. Is trying to diffuse some of the tension between, I think the Texas State fans were coming at him, but he said, I think this is the best rivalry in the G6. And we know what that is. We know what that means whenever they say G6. It's their veiled shot at saying the Pac-12 isn't a power conference. But I want to get technical because he was talking about this year. There is no G6. It's G5 and P4. There's purgatory. There's no man's land. So that's a veiled shot. Whenever you see, yes, Mike Craven, unbiased journalist. He's a great guy, but that's a veiled shot, no matter which way you put it. Heard it from Jared too on the pod. But I want these UTSA Roadrunners to put that aside and stop with the subtle jabs and take a look at the Pac-12 and take a look at the media deal that they're about to get. It's going to be a pretty good media deal. They're going to get some good money out of this. Think about the regionality of the rivalry between Texas State and UTSA. The travel is going to be crazy in the Pac-12, but you have a team that's right there in UTSA. You at least have some easy travel some parts of the year. I want these two programs to go into this new conference hand in hand. Leave these other Texas G5s behind. We don't need UNT or Rice or any of these other ones. I want UTSA to come with the Bobcats and join the Pac-12, and we can really, really dive into this rivalry for years to come. It can become a conference rivalry. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I want UTSA in the Pac-12 with Texas State. Let's all grow together. A rising tide raises all ships. Come on. Let's all rise. Let's all do this. Let's all keep growing. Although I am very worried about UTSA with this whole UT San Antonio rebrand. I'm really worried that they're going to push aside sports a little bit, specifically football. But I hope not. I'm hearing some of these rumors bubbling up that they might be redirecting some things away from sports. But I digress. That's a whole other thing. I want to end it with that, though, this preview. Texas State and UTSA in the Pac-12. You can let me know how you feel in the comments. If you're not happy about it, let me know. If you like it, let me know as well. But that's what I want. I have a ton of, as much as I love to bag on the Birds, I have so much respect for that place, that university, the program, everything they've done. They just pulled a football team out of thin air and are incredibly competitive over 10 years later. So I have developed a lot of respect for them over the years. I still hate them. Still want them to go down in flames. But go down in flames in the Pac-12, though. That's where I'm getting at with that. But all right. This episode was brought to you by Austin Patchmaster. Austin.patchmaster.com. Drywall, sheetrock, plaster repair, cracked walls and ceilings, paint jobs, dinks, dents, popcorn ceiling removal. Did you punch a hole in your wall after that UTSA loss in 2023 and still haven't gotten it fixed? Well, don't worry. Austin Patchmaster has you covered. Whether you are moving in, moving out, or just looking to upgrade, they've got you. Fill that hole in your life with Austin Patchmaster. Owned and operated by Tech State grad and a true Tech State sicko, Michael Clements. Austin Patchmaster is one of our first sponsors, and they are back to finish out the season. Third season for Austin Patchmaster. Can't thank them and Michael Clements enough. Go check them out at austin.patchmaster.com and call them up at 512-200-3888. That's 512-200-3888. Oh, shout out to my guy, Michael Clements. Austin Patchmaster. I won't give it away, but he told me he's got a very cool client on the docket coming up. So shout out to them at Austin Patchmaster. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/winnoworgetbent. Our merch site is under construction. Don't order anything yet. Go order a hat from BHI Hats instead. Go check that out, bhihats.com, promo code WNOGB at your checkout. Check out our YouTube channel if you're not already. Win Now or Get Bent on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff for us. Really helps us grow. Check out our Twitter page at Win Now or Get Bent on Twitter. And our Instagram page at WNOGB. I've been posting on there. And TikTok at WNOGB. At WNOGB on Instagram and TikTok. I'm having a good time. I was pretty reluctant to start promoting specifically on those two last apps, Instagram and TikTok. So I put a lot of time into Twitter, too much time, especially with kids and everything, trying to reduce the social media input. But I'm actually having a good time. And it's a great way to get out there and communicate more with y'all in the messages. I know Twitter things can get lost in the fray a little bit. So that's nice. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment on all our platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. To you audio heads out there, shout out to you guys. men on the go or women on the go. You're busy. You got to throw a headphone in and do your thing. It's the way I like to listen to my pods as well. If you're on there, specifically Apple, get on there and leave a nice review. You can leave a comment, whatever you want to do. Go Bobcats. You do your thing. Get on there and leave us a comment. All that stuff helps us grow. You guys have done awesome at helping us grow. And, I really shout out to you. I give you a thank you at the end of every episode, but this is an extra one because, man, we're cooking with gas, and that's a lot of you for handing us the propane. All right, thank you to TGC. Thank you to Turnkey Tailgate. Thank you to Austin Patchmaster, and thank you to bhihats.com. Shout out to the Wizard, Zachary Webb. That cinematic recap from the Eastern Michigan game rocked. Go check it out. His Wizard Wednesday rocked. Go check it out. He's going to have another cinematic recap from down in San Antonio. He's getting down there. We got him a photo badge and everything, so he's going to be getting the goods. Look out for that cinematic recap as well. And thank you, of course, to you sickos. If it wasn't for you, we'd be shouting into the void. Another big one on Saturday. Come on, Bobcats. Let's get this, huh? We need this one. But seriously, thank you to all of you for your support, for your rabid fanship of these Texas State Bobcats. You are helping to grow the Bobcats, to grow us, just to elevate this place, this community, everything that we've got going on. So thank you to you sickos. None of this is possible without you. But all right, everybody. Until next time, win now or get bent.